Accompanying the budget is a request by the Secretary of Defense for 2 additional rounds of base realignment and closure authority in fiscal years 2013 and 2015. In making this request, the Secretary noted that while the BRAC process is controversial, it is the only effective way to achieve needed infrastructure savings made available by Department force structure reductions. While I applaud the Department's desire to find responsible places to achieve savings, there is one area where there is absolutely no room for compromise this year, and that is BRAC. I will not support the request for a BRAC process to be carried out in 2013. Government auditors have not yet completed a final analysis of the recently completed 2005 BRAC round. Congress needs to understand completely our planned force structure, including our overseas force posture, before we consider a new round of BRAC. The impact BRAC has on communities around the country, some in my home state, is extraordinary. I will not support a process that is casual or one that is rushed before we fully comprehend whether or not this task is clearly in the best interest of the American taxpayer and our national security. The Department has a long way to go before it proves to me that these initial criteria have been met. In short, what we have here is increased upfront cost and reduced savings. This is unacceptable. We must learn from BRAC 05. The upfront costs were much higher than anticipated, and the net savings were too much lower than anticipated. Current GAO analysis shows that we will not even recoup our upfront costs until 2018, 5 years later than originally estimated. There is nothing that has been shown to me, or I believe the Armed Services Committee, that would indicate that we can avoid the catastrophic upfront costs in a new BRAC. And until there is some demonstration of that, I cannot support a BRAC. When you come to Congress in the last BRAC and you say, you know, rather than refurbish, we want to build new, it would be unusual for Congress to say no. Because typically what happens is the members of the Senate that are from the states where the new construction is going to go on become wildly enthusiastic. And one of the reasons BRAC began in the first place is, you may have noticed, none of us like the notion of cutting the military, especially when you talk about it in terms of our readiness and our capability and the excellence that our military represents to the rest of the world. Now, as somebody who's spent a lot of time in the weeds over the last 6 years looking at the way the military does business, I'm confident that we can save a lot of money without impacting our excellence. And part of that is being very careful about asking for new construction when refurbishing will do, when updating will do. Building it new is not always the right answer, especially if we're talking about point-of-the-spear readiness and what we have to be doing with our technology to continue to dominate the world's militaries in terms of our capability. I think it's important that we clean that up at this point, especially if we're talking about a new BRAC. I think it's incumbent on the military to let us know where there still is money. And obviously, when we've taken a hard look and said we don't think it's a good idea and it's done anyway, doesn't make everybody cheerful on this side of the desk.